one's asking why. The world keeps spinning, no one seems to care. Lost in the noise, a silent prayer. Does anyone out there even hear the cry? I'm just a voice in the wind, but I'll keep on screaming 'cause someone's missing. I won't stop dreaming.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for joining me this evening. So today is going to be our normal Project Cold Case Unsolved Homicides, where we discuss the person before we talk about the tragedy. Welcome, Patriot. Thank you for coming in. I want to thank everyone. I know some people complain that I say hi to chat and others say I don't say hi enough. So to everyone in chat, thank you so much for coming in. I greatly appreciate it. Chris says he'll be back after dealing with important things. Okay, we'll see you when you come back. And we'll go ahead and continue from here. This is Deshaun Hollins. Now, Deshaun Hollins was an outgoing 19-year-old who left a positive impact on his community, more than his family even realized. Hi, Far. Thank you for coming in. Happy to see you. After his murder, my husband and I got cards from adults that we didn't even know, but they knew him, says Annette Parsons, his mom. He would always strike up a conversation with people. His family has missed these conversations since 1992. Hi, Taylor. Thank you for coming in. Deshaun was 5 foot 11 inches tall, around 190 pounds, and had a beautiful, bright smile. Deshaun also had charisma that would have brought him into politics, apparently, says to his mother. Now, Deshaun had habits that his family all still remember. Annette says that, excuse me, even from a young age, he never liked his food to touch. He always loved taking things apart and repairing them. One time, someone was about to throw an old car out that just didn't work, and Deshaun asked to have it. Now, Deshaun got it running. You may have been able to see the road through the floor, but, it did work. Cheryl, Deshaun's older sister, said that even at 12 years old, he was hands-on in repairing ceiling fans. Oh my goodness, at 12. Despite seemingly knowing everyone in Houston, Deshaun liked to keep a smaller circle of friends. Annette said Deshaun had a lot of acquaintances, but she really couldn't count his real friends she could count his real friends with just one hand. Now, his closest friends was his cousin Cahill, who was more like his brother and his best friend. Now, Deshaun grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and moved to Houston, Texas with his family when he was 16. As soon as they were settled in, oh, I'm sorry, hold on just a second. I do not know what is going on here. My computer just kind of blanked out for a second. Okay, sorry, guys. He grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and moved to Houston, Texas with his family when he was 16. As soon as they were settled in, Deshaun applied for a job at a gas station. Now, the owner told me he could tell that Deshaun wasn't from Houston because he was a teenager who came in asking for a job. He was always a responsible kid. Deshaun found struggles with school as he grew up because he has dyslexia. Schools weren't knowledgeable about that at that time. He used to confuse his B's and B's, and they discovered that this was dyslexia when he was little. Now, I had to explain to him what dyslexia was like. It's kind of like a train on a track. One's going the long way, but it takes you directly to where you want to go. Annette said that Deshaun had a photographic memory that he could use to help deal with his dyslexia. Dyslexia. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to be a stutterbox. If you read something to him, he might have not been able to read it himself, but he would remember exactly what was said. Now, Deshaun always found time for his family. He especially liked holidays. Christmas was his very favorite holiday. I still have a photo of him and my youngest one sitting on Santa's lap when they were like 17 or 18, says his mother. Now, his sister Cheryl says that he was a great uncle to her kids. Even at a young age, he wanted to have a son and be a great father. And he often would help take care of his siblings when his parents would work. Now, Deshaun loved taking Jamal to the mall, says Annette. He would take him and pretend like his little brother, and he was kind of like the kid that wanted to impress the girls. Imagine that, right? So Deshaun's little siblings loved spending time with him. Even if they did get on his nerves sometimes, Deshaun had a waterbed that his siblings loved to play on, and they always had so much fun in there. Now, Deshaun's family still remembers him over 30 years later. Cheryl makes pineapple stuffing, one of Deshaun's favorite foods, every year. I like to put it on the table so we can still have him with us at Christmas, she says. Now, his family also used to honor him on his birthday by sending him balloons up to the sky, hoping to reach him in heaven. Jamal, my youngest, used to ask where Sean was, and I would just have to tell him that he was in heaven now, says Annette. He was a great person, he had charisma, and he never met a stranger. If you think you have any information about the homicide of Deshaun Hollis, please contact Crime Stoppers of Houston at 713-222-8477. Oh, it's so sad. I mean, if you really just think about it, it's just really heartbreaking. It is. Okay, let's go over to the next one. We have Marco Cluis. Now, on October 23rd, 2018, Marco Cluis called his fiancee, Amia, to let her know that he had his baby boy with him. Now, it was strange to Amia to hear this because his son was usually with his mother that day. When she asked Marco why he had the baby, he just said he wanted to spend some extra time with him. When it was time for the baby to leave, Marco was so upset and he was crying so hard he didn't want to let his kid go. Hours later, at 12:30 a.m. on the 24th, Marco was shot to death in his home. Marco and Amia were supposed to get married 6 months later. We like to go to the movies. We like to go out and eat and have lots of family gatherings. And he was working for Nesquik as an operator and as a lead. He was planning on retiring from there. Amir remembers him as a very outgoing and caring person. He volunteered on his own with different churches. He did a lot of community service. He fed the homeless. He did a lot of that. Now, Marco was a big family man who had two sons, Marco Jr. and Malachi. It was very important to him that he raised both of his children. I don't even recall having to buy anything for my son because he did everything, recalled Amina, sorry. He lived by himself with his brother Earl, living across the street from him. Earl was at home the night his brother was murdered. Now I see that I said Carl, but I guess Carl and Earl appears looking the same. I do apologize. The neighbors are saying that his brother heard gunshots as he came outside. He must have saw something that was going on. So he got in his car and started chasing the people that were leaving his brother's home, and they were shooting at him. Moments later, Earl's car crashed, and he had passed away from the injuries of this crash. Now, years later, the family is still waiting for answers. The funeral was very sad. Him and his brother's funeral at the same time. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. This poor mama. Malachi, his youngest son, who was with him just hours before his death, still remembers his dad, even though he was only one at the time. Now, at that time, we say our prayers, and he always says he wants to pray for his dad and hopes that he is in heaven. One birthday and holiday, Amina will go to his gravesite, taking Malachi with her. Amina doesn't know if it'll ever be solved, but she really continues to hope and remember the Marco that she loves. Now, you can never really say how long someone's going to grieve. People say that time goes by, it all gets better, but that's not always the case. You just learn how to deal with things, and it doesn't mean that you got over exactly what happened. If you have any information on the murder of Marco Cluis, please contact the Dallas Police Department at 214-671-3584. Another really sad one. And guys, I do realize that these are super sad, but I just don't want these people to be forgotten. It's just so wrong for us to not talk about them. Do we have any questions in chat before I continue with the next one, which is Bridget Hall? Everybody good? Okay. I guess nothing is meaning good. All right, let me continue. This is Bridget Hall. Just a few months before she was murdered in 2015, Bridget Hall, a 43-year-old mother, was helping to plan a Stop the Violence event in response to growing up in her hometown of Brookhaven, Mississippi. Now, Bridget, known as a peacemaker by those who knew her, grew up in a large family with 10 older siblings. In high school, Bridget was very well liked. She was a cheerleader. She was elected homecoming queen in her senior year. After high school, she attended Jackson State University on a singing scholarship. Later in life, she became a phlebotomist. I know I always say that wrong. Someone that collects blood from patients and prepares the samples for testing. She had her first child in college, got married, began her career, and moved to Memphis, Tennessee. What Bridget was most known for was her greatest ambition, singing. So she grew up singing in church and even aspired to sing professionally. She had a voice from heaven, says Abe London, her youngest brother. If anyone had a wedding coming up, she was always the first one they would ask to sing. A mother of four children, her siblings describe Bridget as a loving mother. I would say her favorite thing was her children, says Sharon London, her older sister. Now, according to her, Bridget moved from Memphis back to Brookhaven about a year before her death to be close to her kids, who now have children of their own. Now, what's sad to me is knowing that they won't ever know their grandma because someone else decided for whatever reason to do what they did. On the night of July 6, 2015, Bridget answered the door and was shot multiple times. Her two youngest children were in the home, and her oldest daughter was right outside in the driveway. Her oldest son had just left for work. No one has been arrested to this day for her murder. To take her life in front of her kids was a cowardly move, her brother says. She is missed by many. 8 years later, her family is still searching for answers for her case. Sharon London's reason for her involvement is not just for herself, but her late dad, who never got to see Bridget's case solved. I know she's entitled to justice, London said. That's what she's supposed to get. That's what she deserves. Anyone with information on Bridget's case is asked to contact the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office Crime Tips Hotline at 601-823-0150. My goodness, that's terrible too. I mean, here we go with two of them at the same time. My goodness. That's a lot. A lot. Everybody good in chat? It looks like you guys are okay. All right, so we have Darian Flanagan. In the last song Darian Flanagan recorded, he talked about what he wanted for his future. I have big dreams, he sang. I want to rap and sing. Now, his dreams were cut short on a June evening in 2019 when the young rapper was at a BP gas station at North Main Street in Jacksonville. Shots were fired, and he had lost his life. Those shots stilled the voice of a young man who had been making music since he was 8 or 9 years old. His mom, Vontae Nixon, says Darian spent most of his time at the studio hanging out with his family and friends. Darian had 2 older brothers and his younger sister and 3 bonus sisters. I still listen to his music daily and watch videos of him singing in church. Darian was his own way, she said. He had a unique music. It was good music, and he had a lot of people looking at him. He was inspired by his brother, CMF Scoop, a local Jacksonville rapper. A special memory Vontae has of her son is he loved to do outside jobs to make some money. Darian would go to the Jacksonville Jaguars games with his pawpaw and sell waters, and he used to sell honey dippers to the neighborhood kids and sell candy at school. Goodness. He was the true definition of a hard worker. Flanagan was a smart, young, loving man. He loved getting dressed up and getting crazy hairstyles. Darian was an ambitious student who was planning on attending Florida State College in Jacksonville. Having recently graduated from Lee High School, Nixa didn't get to see him achieve that goal. Now, his dreams as making it big as a musician were gone. He was destined for greatness, but that's now been taken away from him. Now, although he's been gone for 4 years, Nixon keeps her connection to her baby Derry alive, even as she struggles to keep grips with his death. Fontaine and her family continue to advocate for him, passing out flyers, conducting walks, and raising money for a reward. She celebrates his birthday by visiting his gravesite, bringing flowers. Some days she just stops by to say hello. Her advocacy goes beyond her son's case. Every year, the Saturday before Easter, she runs an Easter event called Trouble Echo Day. It's a free event giving out Easter baskets, free food, face paintings, pony rides, game trucks, and other events. Darian had big dreams, and his family had big dreams that they'll get justice, and they still hold those hopes today. Anyone with information on the murder of Darian Flanagan is asked to call the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office at 904-630-0500. That's so heartbreaking. God. This is Kane Schmargis. I'm going to say, is it gist or gist? I guess I'm just go ahead and say gist. One of the first things Kane just did when he became mobile at 11 months old was take a long cruise around town on his big wheel tricycle in nothing but his diaper. Now, that's a memory that his mom, Marilyn, will often remember, and she remembers it fondly, even now, almost 2 decades after his murder. On the evening of May 29th, 2005, while attending a graduation party, Kane was shot and killed on the 300th block of Bruce Street in Syracuse, New York. Marilyn's eyes welled up with tears as she recalled the last time she had saw her son. I said, I don't want you to leave because people fear you because you're so big, she said. And by this she meant that that Kane was physically threatening to others due to his large muscular size and build. Hi Mark. Thank you for coming in. Now she worried about what the bad people he was involved with would do. But Kane just smiled, kissed his mom on the cheek as he always did, and told her he'd be right back. Well, he didn't come back. Kane did not return to her that night. He hung out with the wrong crowd, some criminal activity, but nothing major. But a lot of people looked up to him. Now, one of her five children, Kane, was her youngest, and Marilyn said he was the most respectful child she had. He was the type person you could depend on. No matter what, she could always depend on him. Now, growing up in Syracuse, New York, I'm sorry, guys, my computer keeps jumping on me. Growing up in Syracuse, New York, Kane was raised spoiled. He was very, very loved by his mom. School came so easy for him that he made plenty of friends because he knew how to make everyone laugh, but he had to grow up very quickly. Kane was very family oriented. He loved his kids. By age 29, he had five children. Marilyn said there was a large rock standing outside their apartment building where he used to play, and his baby nieces and nephews, and that's just how he'd run them around in circles outside. Every day, all day, he always had a kid with him. By the time Kane's first child was 8, Marilyn started hearing whispers about certain gang-related activity in that area that made her very worried about her grandkids. They were recruiting young kids for selling drugs. The revelation led her to take one child of Kane's on over there to an upscale suburb of Rochester while Kane stayed in Syracuse with a friend. On the night of Kane's murder, he was with his friends and family attending a graduation party. Kane had been outside where there were multiple witnesses, and he was shot in the back. Marilyn says the hours after hearing that news that her son had passed on is just a blur. I thought it was a dream, but now it feels like more of a nightmare. But it was very real. While at the hospital, Marilyn was able to see her son's lifeless body, but she wasn't allowed to touch him. I remember he had a smile on his face like he made peace with God. Now, Marilyn thinks that she thinks about her son every day, and she will ever since the day he had passed away. She thinks about him from morning to night. She has kept herself busy. She sets goals for herself in order to cope with her son's death. Now, Marilyn has now earned her master's degree and works as a case manager in a juvenile retention program. If I can save a child, that's more than enough, she says. Anyone with information concerning Kane's murder is asked to call the Syracuse Police Department Cold Case Homicide Squad at 315-442-5234. Oh, that's terrible. It is. It's just horrible. Okay, let me come over here and check with you guys. What we got going on? We got Mark. I can call you Mike. Yep. So what you guys been up to today? Did you guys have a good day? Busy? Did you guys have a busy day? Okay. So this is Joe Harrell. Joe Harrell was born on November 11th, 1980. He grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, in a loving, close-knit family. Joe was the middle child, having one sister and one younger. He was a hardworking, comical, intelligent young man who loved to spread his creativity throughout art. His older sister, Lavon, says his beautifully humble personality touched everyone he met. After high school, Joe worked at a hospital and was interested in pursuing a career as a surgical tech while maintaining his passion for art and design. Lazy day, firing up his farting. The moments spent together as a family are the most memorable for the Harrells. As kids, they enjoyed playing video games, reading comics, listening to music, and having fun with one another. I was the youngest, so I kind of followed him around, said Michelle. Now, on January 21st, 2006, 25-year-old Joe was expected to arrive at his mom's home where he lived. As the hours passed and he didn't return, his mother began reaching out to family, but no one knew where he was. Now, I remember my mom calling me saying he didn't come home and his phone kept going straight to voicemail. His family began actively searching for Joe, but by the next day, the family knew something was wrong when his boss called and asked why he didn't arrive at work. Unbeknownst to the family, the police discovered a deceased body in the driveway of a house on Silver Street with gunshot wounds. Now, this was in the Springfield neighborhood of Jacksonville, Florida. Lavon and her father had to determine if it was her brother or not. It was. His case is unsolved, and Joe's family is continuing to fight for justice. Now, anyone with information concerning Joe's murder is asked to call the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office at 904 630 0500. Hey, Josh, thank you for coming in. I'm happy to see everyone this evening. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. This is Pamela Scruggs. Do we have any questions in chat before I continue? I know everything's kind of set out, but yeah, it's good to see you, Josh. I'm so happy you come in. No questions? Okay, then I'll go ahead and continue. So Pamela Scruggs was an outgoing, funny, caring person. She loved to be around her family, enjoyed singing and dancing with people. She would be the person to make you laugh, help you whenever you needed it, and just full of life. She loved dancing, going out, loved her family just so, so much. Patricia remembers the last time she saw Pamela. She recalled that her sister was in distress and that somebody was chasing after her. Hmm. My last interaction with her was when she came into my aunt's house upset about something. She was telling us that somebody was coming after her, but she was crying so hard we really couldn't understand what she was trying to say, and we couldn't make sense of it. After that, Pamela did leave the house. She never returned. Pamela was killed on December 5th, 1987, at 21 years old. According to North Philadelphia police, she was in a car with someone she knew. After she got out of the car, she went on a walk and was shot 3 times in the back. Her body was found under a tractor trailer parked on North 9th and West Ontario Streets. Pamela's body was fully clothed and taken to the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's office for an autopsy. Her case is still cold 37 years after this murder. Pamela Scruggs grew up in North Philadelphia. She was from the city's Tioga. I'm going to say this wrong. It's Tioga. So, Tioga section. Sorry if I said that wrong, guys. It has a population of around 10,000 people and is a place that has a very high crime rate. Now, Pamela loved listening to music, especially rhythm and blues, and she loved R&B music and rap too. Now, she also liked Smokey Robinson because he was one of her very favorite singers to listen to. Now, the day of the death, the most devastating tragedy in the family, Patricia Scruggs will never forget where she was when she received the news. I was at home. It was 9 that morning. There were 2 detectives who came to my home and told me that she was gone. And I identified the body and they used the fingerprints to identify the body. So let me read you that. I misread that. So 2 detectives arrived to her home and they used her fingerprints to identify her body. Patricia and her family were all in disbelief in the aftermath of her death. They couldn't comprehend how quickly their smiling, joyful, beautiful loved one was just taken from them. The person who made them laugh and gave them all the best memories is no longer here, and that's still a struggle for them to this day. Pamela's family wants to get to the bottom of the case, and it's gone cold for almost 4 decades. They want to remember her as a beautiful, happy, funny person to be around, but they're still coping with her death, and they're just really trying to continue to stay strong and together as a family. Anyone with information concerning Pamela's murder is asked to call the Philadelphia Police Department, and that number is 215-686-8477. My goodness, so young. So many young lives lost. Heartbreaking, really. Okay, looks like chat. You guys are just so to yourself, doing good. It's safe to chat, guys. I promise. It's fine. Okay, so we have Pamela Pam Gambles. After the summer of 1988, Pamela Gambles felt she was ready to raise her three children. Now, her three children, Malcolm, Monique, and Geralanda, together independently. The decision was made and agreed upon to release custody of the children back to her, of which the legal guardians were her parents. After the summer together, Pamela brought her kids back home in Lake City, where she returned to her home. The plan was for the kids to get packed and exchange goodbyes with friends and family, and then Pamela joined the family with her middle child, Monique's birthday. Well, Pamela was described by her brother Nathan as being very trusting. Oh, okay. It's okay, Josh. Pamela was described by her brother Nathan as being very trusting. This was something he always warned her about. And her kids grew up to be the opposite due to the tragedy of what happened to their mom. Now, Pamela has been very easygoing, happy go lucky, just very trusting, but she was also very protective of her siblings, especially her younger sisters. Her sisters, Judy, called Pamela her rescuer. Now, Pamela was a blend of life, joy, energy. Her favorite hobbies were singing and doing puzzles. She didn't really care what she was doing, she just made it fun. She would do all the puzzles and games in the newspapers. Her siblings said she could sing and draw all the time. Judy said her sister had a love for expressing herself, just no, through anything she could do, singing, poetry, just freehand drawing. The sisters would always be dressed alike by their mom, who would make their own dresses and clothes for them. Pamela was just a free spirit and very enthusiastic. According to her children, one of Malcolm's baseball games, she was cheering from the audience. That's my baby, as she was shouting play by play. The team encouragement at that point of almost getting removed from the stands. In high school, Pamela was on the softball team and she was known to be very athletic. Now, on August 8th, 1988, Pamela had just dropped her kids off with a plan to celebrate an upcoming birthday party in Lake City at her parents' home. Well, she went to a store with a group, and on her way out, she split off from the group and walked alone. She was found early on the 12th in Columbia City, wrapped in a blanket and plastic wrapping. Pamela's children were left with a huge piece missing from their lives. Their joy, both in emotion and who in Pamela was taken from them. Her parents could feel it in their gut, and they knew that their daughter was gone. Malcolm is very protective and learned to guard himself because of his mother's murder, and even pushed Malcolm into a career in law enforcement. The whole family remembers Paula as being free, just a loving spirit. Now, they all feel that when they get back, they all feel this every time they talk to her, they feel through her. Though sharing stories and talking together, the family gets to remember Pamela and honor her. Anyone with information related to Pamela Gamble's unsolved homicide is asked to contact the Columbia City Sheriff's Office at 386-752-9212. To remain anonymous and possibly be eligible for a reward, you can contact Crime Stoppers of Columbia County at 386-754-7099. My goodness, another just sad, very sad. So we have two more. Any questions, guys? Yes, far. It's been so long. Like some of these are 4 or 5 decades long cold case. And if we really think back to like even Timmy D's and how Barb says she's blessed to have him found in just 4 or 5 months. I can totally understand that now because I mean, my goodness, these people just don't have any answers at all. And it's horrible to think that for 4 decades you sit and wonder. It's just sad. So, so sad. It is. So this is Destiny. Isn't she gorgeous? I think Destiny is so, so pretty. Destiny was known by her friends and family for her big heart, pouring it out to everyone she met, inviting in people with her warm and comforting presence. Her friends that she had brought into her home, they were without parents. She'd always bring them there and they would feed everybody. And her mother, Lisa Vega Alva. The world has been missing her big heart since 2018 when Destiny was killed. One night, Destiny went out to visit some friends and never made it back home to Fort Myers, Florida. She was killed at 25 years old in a drive-by, which heroically shielding her son from the bullets. Oh, isn't that terrible? Oh my goodness. Horses, even if you get a body back, that you got to be. I know it's the not knowing, I think, that really gets them the most. It's just that not knowing. Uh, I couldn't imagine that. I mean, 4 decades and just not knowing it. Yeah. So on Saturday, April 21st, Destiny got off work from her nursing assistant job, dropped by her family's house. She brought her sister Elizabeth flowers as Elizabeth prepared for prom before heading off to Chuck E. Cheese with her son and her boyfriend. As Destiny left the house, no one expected the events were about to happen. Well, prom ended for Elizabeth. She received a call from Destiny's phone. Thinking nothing of it, she answered only to hear a random male's shaky voice on the other end, explaining that Destiny had been injured. Confused, Elizabeth asked for some clarity, only to hear her 4-year-old nephew, Mikey, scream in the phone, "TT, TT, my mommy's been shot." The shooting took place on a shaded suburban street in Bonita Springs, Florida, where a friend's house was located. She was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Lisa, Lisa said about her daughter, she explains that the family later found out that unknown attackers were intending to shoot her daughter's friends who owned the home. Destiny was just able to shield her son just in time from becoming injured, but she was shot in the heart, losing her life as she was protecting her own. People often noticed Destiny because of her long, full black hair and her full lips. Her lips were like a famous thing. Everybody called her lips, says her mom. She was just beautiful, just a beautiful girl. Now her 11-year-old son, Michael, otherwise known as Mikey, looks just like his mother when she was young. His gestures and his facial expressions resemble Destiny just as well. Now, anyone with information on the unsolved murder of Destiny is asked to call the Lee County Sheriff's Office at 239-477-1000. This is so, so sad to think she was shielding her child and lost her life doing that. And her family is still begging for answers. And that's the world we live in. I mean, it really is. That's what we live in now. We have families that absolutely beg for justice, and she was saving her own child. That's just so heartbreaking. What do you say that, you know? Horrible, horrible. Yes, Josh, what a hero, definitely. And mother's love. And I'm sure a father would do the same thing, but just the whole idea of it, it's very, very much. She's definitely a hero, yeah, for sure. So we have Demetrius. Demetrius loved the outdoors, especially when surrounded by friends. He was super outgoing. Everyone he associated with was outgoing. Now, Gwendolyn Heim, to his family, Demetrius was a natural leader, not a follower. Someone others admired. Now, tragically, Demetrius's time with his friends and loved ones was cut short over a decade ago. On June 11th, 2012, he was only 27 years old. He was shot and killed outside his brother's home on Jesse Street in Jacksonville, Florida. He had only been on his way to visit his brother. His murder still remains unsolved. Now known affectionately as Meatball, Demetrius grew up in Jacksonville as the youngest sibling. With his sisters already out of the house during most of the childhood, their time together were cherished, but always filled with laughter. One of the biggest passions he had was basketball. Basketball was mainly his life. He played through middle school, spent summers competing in local summer leagues. In high school, he would become more of a weekender, and after school, he loved to go out and play some more basketball. He loved going to the Boys and Girls Club where he played regularly and made friends fast. Basketball was his way to connect. Demetrius was also bright, an A.B. student throughout high school. After graduation, he pursued electrical work, briefly working with a little bit of an electrical company, not for long, just a little bit. Just a day before his passing, Demetrius visited Tanya's home to take his nephew to the YMCA for some basketball. When they returned, Demetrius wanted to come inside to play video games. His nephew, busy with homework, asked him to come back another time. The next day, he was gone, and the nephew's heartbroken. On that Monday evening, Demetrius was chased into his brother's backyard and shot. His brother, hearing the gunfire, ran outside and found Demetrius lifeless. I know this has to be so devastating to find your loved one like that, says Tanya. The police report noted the suspect fleeing, possibly in a silver car. but no other details have been given or released publicly. Now, word of Demetrius's death spread fast. His brother called the mother, and the rest of the family soon learned of this tragedy in the aftermath. Gwendolyn and her two daughters leaned on one another for strength and support. You don't have to depend and lean on one another for strength, for help, she said. For Tanya, the grief carried a heavy weight. I don't even remember ever telling them I loved them, she said as she reflected. He is. He's a very handsome kid for sure. In the face of an unimaginable loss, Gwendolyn holds on to faith, forgiveness. She says, forgive the ones that took his life, because even if I don't forgive them, God forgives everybody. Demetrius left behind a young daughter with whom he shared custody, and the family remains very, very close to her today. Every year on the anniversary of his death, Demetrius's family and friends gathered to release balloons at the spot where he had passed, as blue was his favorite color. It's their way of honoring the memory, celebrating his life, and refusing to let his story be defined by tragedy alone. Demetrius brought light and joy to everyone around him. He had a deep bond with his family and a heart that touched many. By sharing his story, his legacy lives on and his case stays alive. In his memory, the family established a nonprofit organization, Heals Network, INC. Its mission is to advocate for families that are impacted by gun violence, offering healing, help, hope, and justice. The organization also works to raise awareness about the realities of gun violence and aims to be a voice for the voiceless, a beacon of light for the brokenhearted. Anyone with information concerning Demetrius's unsolved homicide is asked to call the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office at 904-255-2626. Now, to remain anonymous and possibly get an award or a reward for this, you can call First Coast Crime Stoppers at 866-845-8477. Very, very sad case. Horrible. All right, guys, I think that's really just about all I had for you. They do kind of update frequently, but I think I've almost went through everyone they have on their website. And their website, if you are interested, is in the description of this live. Check them out. They have so many cases, and I have lots of lives on there. I usually try to pull out 10 each live. This time it only took 37 minutes. Usually it does take me a full hour, but some of these were shorter, and these are the last 10 that I had missed. So hopefully, as soon as they add more, I will be live with more of them. But I just want to thank each and every one of you for joining me this evening. You could be anywhere, and you chose to be here with me, and I appreciate that very, very much. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. God bless you all. Sleep well tonight. And you know what? Compliment a stranger. You never know. It might be more rewarding to you than it is to them. All right, guys. Until next time. Bye-bye.
In a world that turns too fast, some are lost, left in the past. But we won't let silence win. We'll speak their names again. Voices rising through the dark. Every story leaves a mark. We are the ones who won't forget. The fight for truth is not done yet. We shine the light, we raise the call. For the missing, the broken, we stand tall. For justice, for healing, for every tear, we carry their names.
No one's asking why. The world keeps spinning, no one seems to care. Lost in the noise, a silent prayer. Does anyone out there even hear the cry? I'm just a voice in the wind, but I'll keep on screaming, 'cause someone's missing. I won't
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming in tonight. I'm going to go over you if I did. I thought you were getting me in, but I wasn't positive, so I went ahead and set up. But before I get started, I want to go ahead and say hi to everyone. Looks like I'm going to be a setter box all night. Okay, first let's go ahead and start with Papa Don. Thank you for coming in, Don. We have Lizzie, Elizabeth Snuffy. Thank you, Elizabeth. I like Harp Seals. I see you're here every night. Thank you so much. We have Danny Gage. Nice to see you. Just lurking. Lizzie, Slick. Hey, Slick. We have Lazy Bunny. Just Sam. We have Old Board. I feel ya. I definitely should have had that name. We have James Kavanaugh. Thank you for coming in, James. We have Lucy Goosey. And we have Kelly. So we have James and Kelly Kavanaugh. Hi, guys. Thank you for joining tonight. We have Poopy Doo. We have Respawn Lobby. If you're not subscribed to his channel, please do. He has a lot of gaming on that channel. You might be into that. You never know. You might learn by watching him play. We have Southern Gal True Crime. She does true crime, of course. Please go over there and check her out. She does excellent work with cold cases. We have Unscripted Chronicle. She also has a channel. If you want to go over there and sub up to her. What else we got? We have Dexter. Hey, Dexter. Thank you for coming in. All right, so guys, this is going to be one of my normal projects. Oh, what? Hey, Peony, hi. I'm so happy to see you. Hey, Josh, thank you for coming in. My StreamYard must have a lag. Hey, Far. So I'm a few minutes probably on my StreamYard of my chat popping up. So if I miss anyone, I apologize. I definitely will catch up with you as soon as it pops up here on the screen. But this is my normal project, Cold Case, Unsolved Homicides. And what I do is I try to bring light to the person before the tragedy. So they are remembered by who they are, not by how they have passed away. And that's just my way of honoring their life, even though I've never met them. So with that being said, let me go ahead and get started. First, we're going to talk about Jack L. Robinson. Now, it's been over 25 years since Jack L. Robinson was stabbed to death during an altercation on the Rosewood Boat Landing in Columbia, South Carolina. Now, on August 17, 1996, just after 6 p.m., witnesses reported seeing Jack and an unknown Hispanic male arguing over money. Now, as that suspect fled the scene, Jack, mortally wounded, struggled to make his way toward the witness for help. Rescue personnel rushed Jack L. Robinson to Palmetto Health Richmond Hospital, where he was pronounced deceased. Now, since then, investigators believe two men knew each other, but they're unsure of the verbal altercation and how that turned into violence. A sketch was composited from the witness description implicating a Hispanic male with an olive complexion between the ages of 25 to 35 years old. Wow, that's kind of a big age gap there. 25 to 35, my goodness. I mean, you can look a lot of ways in those many years. Oh, hang on just a second, guys. I guess my computer screen froze here. Dawn, did you give me your swamp signal? There it is. It's back. Okay. So it says on here that between the ages of 25 to 35 years old at the time, he was approximately 5'5" and between 150 to 180 pounds with black hair and a mustache. The suspect would now be 50 or 60 years old. Now, about a year after the murder, Jack's family was informed that an arrest had been made in the case. Detectives believed that they linked Jack's stabbing death to a man charged with murdering a 30-year-old woman and her 3-year-old niece. Oh my goodness. The bodies of one of those victims were dumped near the boat ramp where Jack was stabbed. The woman who had worked for Jack at one time said bloodhounds used during Jack's murder investigation had tracked a scent to a business that would later become known as the suspect's place of employment. Now, provided the circumstantial evidence used to arrest the suspect for Jack's death, prosecutors sought the death penalty in the double murder case, but informed Jack's family that due to the lack of physical evidence, they weren't going to be able to pursue charges in his stabbing death. So law enforcement assured the family they had Jack's killer, and all of that should physical evidence surface, they would reconsider taking the case to trial. Well, some 11 years later, while Jack's daughter Tammy was searching on the internet, she found her dad listed on the Richland County Sheriff's Department cold case webpage. No one had even bothered to call and inform her or her family that this new evidence had surfaced and cleared the prior suspect. Now, Tammy continues to pursue justice and answers by sharing her dad's story on Facebook. And she's working really hard to make sure that suspect's sketch and subsequent, wow, I might just be all tongue-tied tonight. Sorry, guys. That subsequent face logic composites are publicized. Now, if you have any information on the unsolved murder of Jack L. Robinson, please contact the Richland County Sheriff's Department at 803-576-3073. Oh my goodness, it's terrible. So I guess actually his dogs are the ones that found him. Aw. Josh says, Columbia was one of my stopping grounds in the years past. Oh my goodness, well, I'm telling you, it's a scary world. It really is just a scary world. Next, we have James Harms. How are you guys doing in chat first? I like to check chat in between. I don't know if I said hi to Far. I think I did. If not, I'll say it again. Hey, Far. I think I said it already, but just I don't want anybody to feel left out. So this is James Harms. He looks like a fun guy, doesn't he? This week, we're going to pause from our usual cold case spotlight and focus on justice, or, as the case may be, the lack thereof. Sometimes, as families of unsolved homicide victims, we get caught up in believing that an arrest automatically means justice for our loved one. Well, that's not always the case, and for many reasons, sometimes the system fails us and our loved ones. I have heard it said that the United States justice system is not perfect, but it's the best system in the world. We know the system isn't perfect because innocent people have gone to prison and guilty people have been acquitted. Now, whether it is the best system in the world or not, I'm sure that can be debated as well. But it is our system, and it is the long, winding, rocky, slow, sometimes unfair path that victims and families have to go through in hopes of receiving justice. This week, we're going to spotlight the solved case of James Allen Harms to demonstrate the difference between an arrest and conviction and justice. While this case is resolved in the eyes of our justice system, I want the readers to ask themselves if they'd consider this justice. On April 22nd, 2007, 3:36 a.m., James Allen Harms, a 56-year-old retired U.S. Navy Chief Petty Officer, Chief Petty Officer, was most of the way through his drive from Florida to Louisiana. Now, just ahead of him on I-10 West in Gulfport, Mississippi, a car driven by Alicia Carmack struck the back of his Ford Mustang. Now, his Mustang spun one way, hitting a concrete guardrail, coming to rest facing the wrong direction in the middle lane. Now, Carmack veered off the road onto the grass. James Harms was quickly approaching the crash in the middle lane, pulling a U-Haul trailer. With no time to avoid the wreckage, James struck the Mustang head-on, sending the U-Haul trailer whipping around to both cars. In 1989, blue, black LeSabre James was driving came to the rest in the far right lane. Moments after a speeding blue Ford Mustang driven by Tadeo Marcias swerved to avoid the disabled black Mustang still in the middle lane, but smashed in the back of James's car. Don't know if this is going to let me save it. I hope it does. I'll kind of show you the car. As much as I don't want to save this, y'all kind of are going to want to see this. Because it is bad, so trigger warning, guys, before I put this up here. But if it'll let me add it, I really hope it does. It's in rough shape. So this is kind of what his car looked like after all of this happened. Wow. I mean, and you know those old cars, it takes a licking to do something like that for sure. So this is his car. So I'll leave it up there just for a minute as I finish reading. So when police and rescue arrived, they found 4 mangled cars and 1 fatality. James Allen Harms had been killed in the crash. Tadeo Marcias had to be cut out of the blue Mustang, which he was driving and taken by ambulance to the local hospital. Now, the driver of the black Mustang was bloody and bruised and also taken to a local hospital, but before being transported, he told officers that the driver that started the chain of collisions, Alicia Carmack, had jumped from her car and fled the scene on foot. Now, as the as the investigation unfolded, it was discovered that Alicia had been driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs that night. She was arrested and charged with felony DUI causing death, felony leaving the scene, and cited for possession of marijuana. Now, Tadeo Marcias was discovered to be an illegal immigrant who was also driving under the influence that night. Well, for heaven's sakes, my goodness. Tadeo Marcias was discovered to be an illegal immigrant who was also drunk that night. Marcias invoked his right to remain silent during questioning at the hospital. Well, okay. For reasons that have never been explained to the family of James Harms, Tadeo Marcias has never been charged with any crime in relation to the crash that killed James Harms on April 22nd, 2007. Marcias was picked up again a year later for driving under the influence and charged with DUI first offense, despite his involvement in the April 2007 crash and the turned over to Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Wow. So they didn't charge him with absolutely anything. It wasn't even on his record. But then, because he did it again, now he has one. Wow. Let me go back over here real quick and show James, because there's his car, but man, it's hard to believe that James Harms was in this car. Oh, that's just horrible. Heartbreaking. Okay. So now he has his first offense. Now, Alicia Carmack was convicted on both charges and sentenced consecutively to 20 years for DUI manslaughter and 5 years for fleeing the scene. So she gets charged, but the other guy gets nothing. There's something wrong with that, don't you think? Anyway, so the judge suspended 15 of the of course he did. The judge suspended 15 of the 25-year sentence that Carmack was sent to prison for, and just let her serve 10 years, followed by 5 years probation. Wow. See, this is exactly what's wrong with our justice system. Just one of many. I won't get into it. 1 year later, James Harms' son, Carl, discovered Carmack was posting pictures on social media, drinking. She was at a bar, traveling outside of Gulfport. Well, Carl Harms reported her to the Mississippi Department of Corrections, and she was arrested for violating the terms of her release. There was a chance Carmack could be forced to serve the final 6 years of her 10-year sentence. So she only served 4 years. So when they let her out, I guess she had 6 years left. And if she got caught, she was supposed to do 10. But once again, she was released early, 6 months early. She has since been arrested at least twice, including grand larceny from this year, March of this year. James Harms' son, Carl, is a victim's advocate in Jacksonville, Florida, and founded Jack's Eye Impact, an educational awareness program that brings real-life crime scenes to the public for the public to see, sharing his story of life, death, and responsibility. Carl's goal was not to blame the system, but to become a part of the system in hopes of making it better. Wow. I just don't know. I know these people are super sweet, and I understand that because, I have a soft heart too, but I'm not this kind of sweet. I don't know about how you guys are, but that's ridiculous. One guy should have definitely been charged. There's absolutely no way I would have let that go. But then again, now they have taken this to their advocacy, and that's them all together right there. It's pictures at one of their little groups that they do each year for advocacy. So, kudos to them. That's amazing. I would love for Barb to connect with these people because, she's a force too to be reckoned with. So, yes, Josh, two different insights. I know. I don't get it, but what can we do? Right? But I have to wonder why the one guy got nothing. How does that? Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead to the next one. Our next one is Cleo Philip Eska. Oh, I think that's this one. There we go. On Wednesday, October 31st, 2001, at 8:43 a.m., police officers responded to a small business located at 1705 University Boulevard, North in Jacksonville, Florida. The owner of the business, Cleo Philip Eska, was found shot to death inside his Spiritual Heights store. Friends of Cleo's had gone to check on him and discovered his body inside his locked business. Now, although the exact circumstances of his homicide remain unknown, information obtained during the investigation indicated drugs played a big part in this. As we approach the 15 years of Cleo's murder, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Cold Case Unit reached out to us to assist in publicizing this unsolved murder. Cleo Esca, 25 years old, when he lost his life, and his life was very short, just cut very short. But he had already accomplished some of his dreams. Cleo was the proud owner of his new business, Spiritual Heights, where he sold music and clothing. His other great joy was being with the father of his two young boys. Cleo's oldest son has a few memories of his dad, but the youngest was not only robbed of a father, but memories too. We did reach out to Cleo's fiance at the time and his murderer and mother of his two children, and she had this to say. And this is her words, guys, not mine. Cleo was a great son, brother, friend, and father. Cleo would always say that his greatest accomplishment came in fruition the day he became a father. Now, Cleo enjoyed spending time with his 4 and 1.5-year-old sons. They are now 20 and 16. They will both have graduations, one from college, one from high school. Cleo will never have the chance to witness these great accomplishments because someone decided to play God and take his life. Cleo's killer took more than just his life. They took away whatever relationship he could have with his sons and me. Although in his 20 years old, my 20-year-old son has become memories again, so I guess his mom is talking in here too. His 16-year-old son has none, and he struggles with that daily. Cleo was a man with dreams for many years. He worked as a licensed carpenter as means to save money one day to open his own clothing and music store. Now that dream became a reality in 2000, but sadly, his life was also taken in that place that he worked so hard to obtain. Now, Cleo wanted to be the prime example of how to follow your dreams, work hard, and make those dreams come true. Although life is gone for Cleo, justice for Cleo is just as important now as it was 15 years ago. If you have any information on his unsolved murder, please contact the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Cold Case Unit at 904-630-1784. My goodness. And see, so many young lives lost. It makes you really, kind of scared for the future, right? Because I'm super, super scared. Like, even for my grandkids, it's like, you got to be kidding me. How can we protect them from things we don't even know what to protect them from, right? Like, how could we? We would never know to protect our kids from some of the stuff we just don't know. So this is Vicki Lynn Cook. Oh, I skipped. I'm sorry, did I miss anything in chat, guys? I don't mean to not discuss things with you. I just kind of want to get through for a future. Oh, good night, Josh. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you stopping by. Is that it? I want to make sure I answer questions. I don't want to kind of ignore anyone. I just get so into this. Okay. So on Saturday, June 30th, 2001, police were called to the West 27th Street apartment of 19-year-old Vicki Cook in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, officers arrived on scene and found Vicki with a life-threatening stab wound to her chest. She was transported to the local trauma hospital where she succumbed to her injuries a short time later. Multiple children were in the home when Vicki was attacked. The investigation revealed that 2 black males had pulled up into an apartment in a black Lexus car. According to the reports, the driver entered Vicki's residence with the intent to rob her. The passenger remained in the car and never entered the home. Detectives at that time reported that the passenger drove away from the scene in a stolen blue Chevy Astro van with a large gray stripe and a temporary tag in the right rear window. Vicki Cook was described by friends and family as a funny, smart, and dedicated mother. Vicki's 2 young daughters, along with the other children, were in the house when she was stabbed. Growing up without a mom's very difficult, and her daughter described in a 2015 interview that the girls are still hopeful. Someone will come forward with information that leads to the answers and justice. And I quote their words, "We haven't had justice for her, and that's what we want, but we haven't gotten it. It's just so hard." Vicki Cook's now teenage daughter, Jasmine. Now, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Cold Case Unit recently submitted Vicki's case to Project Cold Case. so that they could spotlight and publicize this unsolved murder of this young mother. If you have any information, no matter how small, please contact the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office at 904-630-0500. That's so sad. So many lives lost and so many unsolved. Any questions in chat, guys? Nothing? I'm going to have to wake y'all up, huh? All right, I'll have to do it. All right, back to business. Back to business. I had to. I just like it myself, I guess. Okay, so enough playing. My goodness, I got to grow up someday. So we had Misty Louder. Now, Misty Louder, on May 22nd, 2013, 35-year-old Misty Louder disappeared without a trace from Pilot Point, Texas. She was last seen at 11 p.m. as she reportedly left a house she was hired to clean and has never been heard from since. Now, Misty's cell phone shows no activity after 8:30 p.m. on the night that she had disappeared, despite the fact she averaged 5,800 text messages per month and carried an extra phone charger in her purse. The truck Misty was driving was found. Peony, we had it coming. The truck Misty was driving was found on May 25th, 2013, on the 100th block of Fort Worth Drive in Denton, Texas. Now, due to Misty's known drug use and lifestyle, foul play is suspected in her disappearance. There's no shortage of theories or rumors regarding her case. Unfortunately, though, most of them end with Misty being the victim of murder. While Misty had many well-documented struggles in her life, she was loved and is still missed. This is the same. Did you? I read about this one. Yeah, it's so sad. And sometimes I feel like anytime they throw that addiction out there, hey, Chris, sometimes I feel like when they throw that addiction part in there, it makes law enforcement back up a little, as I don't think it's okay. It's far from okay. But I think that they get put to the side a little too much if they hear the word addiction. But that's just my opinion. Her children, her mother, her brother, and others have been devastated by her disappearance and facing this scenario that she is more than likely not coming home. Misty's mother has fought for 4 years to find her daughter and desperately just wants answers. Having a missing loved one is a struggle alone that's not easy to understand until you've experienced it firsthand. Now, Misty's mother has channeled her pain and grief and found comfort in faith and horses. She is now working on an idea to use all of these kinds of therapies to help others heal from mental and emotional issues with a focus on grief. So, if you have any information on the disappearance of Misty Louder, no matter how small, please contact the Denton Police Department at 940-349-7995. It's just a sad reality. That's just terrible. I've been chatting with a friend of ours who is a good person. Well, good, Chris. I hope you guys had a great conversation. All right, so let's go from Misty on over to Nancy Jo Canode. I know I probably said that wrong, and I apologize. It's been 37 long years since the brutal murder of Nancy Jo Canode, a mother of three whose children are trying everything they can do to just bring their mother's killer to justice. Canode's daughters have started a Facebook page, reached out to organizations such as Project Cold Case, and have sent letter after letter to the state's attorney office pleading for their day in court. Well, Canode's daughters have started a Facebook page. They've reached out to other organizations, and they'll probably never give up on bringing this killer to justice. Canode's daughter, Sherry Shepard, and until then, they will keep moving forward, keep pushing, and they'll also keep praying. Right now, they're praying that someone in Jacksonville will call police with only just one little piece of a tip of information that will finally lead to the person who took their mother's life on March 3rd. The first indication that something was wrong was the day that someone came from Canode Point Vendra Beach condominium. The foundation's near Sawgrass on Florida's A1A, called the Operator. Now, I've never been to Florida, so that kind of threw me off for a minute, but I'm sure those of you that are familiar will know what that is. According to a memo at the state attorney's office, Loretta Brown, the Southern Bell operator who took the call, we all remember Southern Bell telephones, right? Stated in an interview with detectives that the call was from a woman who sounded frightened, asking to be connected with the police. But before Brown could alert her supervisor, caller hung up. Now, it would be 8 more years before the horror that night may have produced that phone call and made it a little bit more clear. Wow. That was when Canode's 15-year-old daughter, Suzanne Spite, was returning home to the Ponte Verde Beach condo from Fletcher High School, where she was a sophomore. Now, when she walked in and put her books down, she began calling for her mom. She got no response. I walked up all the stairs. I saw my mom's feet just inside the bedroom along a lot of blood. Spite said, I decided to not go into the room any further. I ran downstairs to the neighbors to get help. St. John County Sheriff's Office deputies found the 39-year-old woman with a rope tied tightly around her neck and stabbed numerous times with an ice pick and steak knife. Well, my God, that's horrible. The steak knife was taken from the kitchen downstairs and placed in her back. Dear God. The detective at the time, Neil Perry, later told Shepard that it was one of the most brutal things he had ever seen. He told her there was definitely signs of struggle, but no signs of forced entry. It was then that officials called Canode's husband of 2 years, Kenneth Canode. Now, he's since changed his name. There was an emergency at his home at that beach. Canode's husband was traveling in Georgia on a business trip when he was notified of his wife's death. He was given a police escort back to Jacksonville, deciding to drive himself and follow the officers instead than ride in their vehicle. I don't know, Dawn, what do you think? I got questions already about this one. According to the memo from the state attorney's office, Perry noted Canode's reactions as being flat and emotionless both times. Shepard, who was 19 at the time of her mother's murder, agrees with Perry's evaluation of Kenneth Canode's emotions. I was at work when I got the call, and I remember driving what must have been 120 miles an hour during the highway to the condo. But then once I got to the condo, one thing that really stuck out to me was Kenneth Canode, she said. That man did not shed one tear. Canode had taken out a life insurance policy on his wife. Wow, well, this just keeps getting better and better, right? Yeah, and he changed his name. Oh, that's crazy. So he changed the life insurance policy to nearly $160,000. He told the Florida Times Union that he was an insurance salesman and it seemed like the right thing to do. Yeah, if you're going to do something like this. According to the state attorney's office, Canode, who was last heard to be in Texas, used the payout from his wife's insurance policy to rent a house for an ex-wife and her children. Okay, well, the pieces are starting to fit now. State attorney documents also show that Canode's ex-wife told investigators years after the murder that Kenneth had visited her a week prior to Nancy's murder. When he told his ex-wife how unhappy he was in his current marriage, he said he would do anything at all to get out of this marriage, and asked his ex to tell her 2 children that he would be coming back to all of them. Wow. Yeah. This is starting to all fit. Hey, patriotism, found your way out of Walmart parking lot, didn't you? Did you get stuck again or lost? On February 6, 2015, the case was thrust into the national spotlight when the TV show Cold Justice, featuring Nancy Canode's murder, the show's title was Operator Hurry, alluding to the phone call that someone had made to that operator that day. The episode ends with the detectives presenting their case to the state attorney's office and returning with word that the prosecutors planned a thorough review of the case. Now, despite the hard work of St. John County Sheriff's Office, detectives, and the help of cold case teams, the state attorney's office for the 7th Judicial Circuit declined to file charges against Kenneth Canode. Of course. Oh, that's just frustrating. I couldn't imagine being their family. This is so sad. I get lost in Pete. What is it? I got lost. Me and Paige about half of everything. Oh, I see how you two are. Troublemakers. Okay, so the sisters' hope for the trial was shared by Canode's mother, Josephine Cantor. who told the Times Union in 2009 that she hoped the case would be solved before she would pass away. Now, Senator passed away on September 18th, 2015, and she never once got to see justice for her daughter. The two sisters have created a Facebook page to honor their late mother. The page is called Justice for Nancy Jo Canode. We will not give up. Now, that page has over 1,800 likes. The love and support they get from Facebook means so much. They try to give back by sharing cold cases on the page. We want people to know that they are not alone and that other people care about their loved ones also. And that keeps the two women going. It also gives them a way to reach out to others who are also suffering and dealing with all unsolved murders by their loved. Oh, well, that's really sweet of them. That's amazing. It doesn't give me like a 1-800 number or anything to have anybody call, but isn't that just, that is so sad. God. And see, guys, this is just right in your own house. Who knew, right? Let me see what you guys are up to in chat. Doodlebug, do you want me to send you the cold case video on it? I'm kind of just going through the Project Cold Case website right now, but yeah, you can send that to me, and maybe we'll do like a deep dive today if that's what you want to do, Chris. It's fine. I can't believe Patriots and PJ went out and bought everything at Walmart. I'm sure Dawn could care less about Walmart right now. She's just like, take it all. Take all of it. We don't care. Take all of Walmart. I'm positive of it, actually. Okay. So next, let me just go ahead and get to the next. And I think he has such a cute face. Look, he's got like a baby face. This is Chris Davini. Yeah, I thought so, Dawn. Because I know that anytime that I'm going through the store and people are getting out of work, they're just like, yeah, I'm not shopping here. I'm over it. Which I could see that. You get paid and then you have to go back in there and give them your money back. I'm not doing that. I don't like that idea. Yeah, he is super cute. He's got a little baby face. Now, to the average visitor, the worn coat seems little more than a vintage Orlando Magic jacket that employers at Buster's Ice Cream put on whenever they walk into a cooler. But that simple blue and black jacket hanging on a hook near the freezer is really the heart of the shop. Now, it's been at that store as long as it's been open. It belonged to Chris Davini, whose idea it was to open that ice cream shop, and is now owned and operated by his family. Now, that store, as its well-worn jacket, has many memories of a young man who lost his life nearly 2 decades ago. Davini was 27 years old when he was found dead on April 5th, 2000. In his home he was renting on South Jacksonville Beach. Now, according to the Jacksonville Beach Police Department, he was shot during what appeared to be a struggle inside his home. Once inside, police also discovered pot-growing equipment and marijuana plants. Oh, well, this was 2018, guys. Let's not freak out about a little devil's lettuce. Davini's landlord was one of 4 people who were arrested in the case several years after Davini's death, but police said there's no connection between those 2 cases. Police have also not received any new information concerning that murder case. On the day he died, Davini was supposed to be taking his niece and nephew to Adventure Landing, but he never showed. His mother got worried when he didn't answer his phone, so she drove to his house. Aw, his poor mom. Oh, that's so sad. And by the time that she got there, a friend had already found his body, and the police had taped off the area. Thank goodness she didn't have to see that. But they wouldn't let her in. Thank goodness for that, says Susan, who is Davini's older sister. I was at work when I got the call. My stepfather called and said, Chris is gone. And I'm like, Chris is gone? Where did he go? He repeated himself, and from the tone in his voice, I could tell what he meant. Davini was the youngest child in a large family that grew up in Arlington. We were known as the Brady Bunch because there were 6 of us, 3 boys, 3 girls. We were all so close, and we continued that even after Chris had passed on. After his death, the siblings had moved away and back to Jack's, where they would all live near, except one of the sisters who still live in Atlanta. Davini went to Bishop Kenny High School, where he graduated in 1990. And he had so many friends in high school. He was just a likable guy. And he was on the baseball team, so he knew everyone. His funeral had only standing room only. Aw. But that right there shows he had to be a wonderful person. He was such a mama's boy, she laughed. He loved my dad, but he really, really loved his mom. Davini had his own fencing company, Allstate Fence and Deck, and he was looking for something more. The family found out that when they discovered an application to own a Buster's ice cream, well, he kind of ran with that, and he was successful with that. They had no idea what they were doing, but they were just so busy and they had such a future. And they continue to stay busy, which has kept the store in the top 5 of the franchise sales today. Now, Davini's impact on the store is very evident. There's a picture memorial to Davini hanging in the back, which every new employee is shown when trained. The jacket that he owned is still hanging in the walk-in freezer where Tom put it that day the store opened. Everyone that goes into the freezer uses that jacket today. They really don't understand it until they meet the family. My mother, who is now 78, still works there. Every year, all of the employees are invited to Thanksgiving dinner and Christmas dinner. Once they become our Buster's family team, they understand. Tom Davini started to speak about the day his brother passed away, but stopped and shook his head. We're going to have to do that part another time, he said. Now, if you have any information on the unsolved murder of Chris Davini, no matter how small, please contact the Jacksonville Beach Police Department at 904-270-1661. Aw. Another sad one. I mean, I get that, life is so precious. And you think that, they just walked in there and just took his life. Patriot says, well, PJ sent us the cold weather, so figured I would trade. Well, I mean, that's fair enough. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. I won't keep you guys long. I usually just try to keep these right at an hour. So here we have Kelly Lauren Chappell. The lessening of the constant pain never comes easily, if at all, for the families of the murdered. But it's even harder when there's a few answers in the case that's gone cold. This is the case of Kelly Lauren Chappell. They say you'll get closure, Chappell says. You don't ever get closure. You suffer every day. You just want to know the answers to what happened. It is a pain that Bernard deals with every single day and still hurts as much as the day that she found out. The date the pain began for Chappell was September 8th, 2007. He hasn't been pain-free since. On that day, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office responded to a call at the apartment of University Boulevard. The officers found Kelly's body in her room. The cause of death was gunshot wounds. Her boyfriend, 28-year-old David Matos, was found dead in the kitchen. He also had been shot. Now, Kelly's father directly remembers when he had first heard of this. An avid viewer of the news, he was just watching television and heard that 2 people were found dead in an apartment. Now, he remembers the story stuck out because he had been there so many times and there had been several murders in the news the night before. Not long after watching the story on the news, he did receive a call from one of his daughters and a co-worker at ADT Security. The co-worker asked if he had heard from his daughter. Chappell replied that he had not seen her or talked to her and assumed that she was at work because, she had stayed at her boyfriend's house the night before. Her co-worker was very hesitant to tell him what was next. She kept holding back until she said, I think Kelly is dead. The co-worker had told him that, she had driven by Mateo's home and seen officers and his daughter's car. When Chappell returned to the news report, he too spotted his daughter's car in that video. I knew it was her, he said. With as much news as I watched, I knew it was her. She was not at home. She was not at work. She had not contacted me for a minute. Kelly would always call me. Eventually, JSO called Chappell to come into the morgue to identify his daughter's body. He never got to see her body. JSO only showed him a picture. Chappell's gut feeling was confirmed the second he saw the picture. His daughter's murder, as well as the murder of her boyfriend, is still a mystery today. Police say there just isn't enough evidence to file the charges. Now, she wanted to know everything. She loved to talk about life and the Bible with me, he says. She was just kind of quizzy. She always wanted to talk and know more. Kelly's older sister, Leslie, agreed, recalling a time she had purchased a cell phone. Within minutes, Kelly had it in her hands and was working it like a pro. Kelly also loved to cook for her dad. She would especially make his favorite kinds of food, lasagna. An avid writer, she would also write poems for him. If you have absolutely any information about this case, I beg you to do the right thing and call 911 immediately. And if you don't want to call 911, you can always get a hold of Crime Stoppers. You can do that online. You can call the Jacksonville Police Department, anything like that. But it doesn't really give me a number on here. I'm not sure why, but it does say Project Cold Case Investigating Agency is Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, Jacksonville, Florida. So any information, guys, anything, please give them a call if you think you spot her or you even hear where she could possibly be. Let me check chat. Patriot says, wow, we need more people to talk about the Bible. Yes, we do. We do. Absolutely. PJ said, oh, that one you're going to trade? Yes. And you know, patriotism, it's hard because a lot of times when you talk about the Bible, people start flying out of chats left and right, which is okay because, you know, you want quality over quantity anyway. So that it never bothers me. Okay, so next we have Ruth Holt. Isn't she just, I think her face is just so sweet. She looks so sweet but firm. Now, this story is part of a collaborative project between Project Cold Case and the University of North Florida journalism class. The student credited above wrote this story as a class project, and his name is Nathan Dean. Dr. Ruth Haught was beloved throughout her community. She helped countless people as a chiropractor. Her family claimed she would do anything to help a loved one. Ruth had the ability to fill any room with laughter. Her sense of humor always cracked you up. Jean Wagner said, as her partner, one year Ruth had me pick out the funniest looking dress for her sister Barbara. The dress had turkeys on it, and that's how I met her. That's how funny she was. She always liked to make people laugh. Not only did Ruth enjoy making people laugh, but she had a very strong relationship with her family, especially her sisters. Now, Ruth loved talking to her sisters. She would call them every day. Now, a caring, humorous lady was taken from the community, friends, and family in 1992. I was going to work and she was going to make pork chops for dinner that night. I left during the afternoon of the incident. The chiropractor she worked at was only like a block or two away. I called the office and it went straight to a robotic voice message. When I got home, her car wasn't there. Then I knew something's not right. Dr. Haught worked at the Robinson Chiropractic Clinic in southern portion of Kissimmee, Florida. It was there that she was kidnapped by her assailant. Oh my goodness. The following day, a child riding on a school bus reportedly spotting something orange near St. Cloud, a neighboring city across Lake, is it Tahoe? I probably said that wrong. If I did, I apologize. Dr. Ruth Holt was only 41 years old. The Osceola County Sheriff's Office website has Holt's case listed and shares a bit more information of what happened that night. Ruth Holt's ATM card was used at an ATM at Vero Beach, and that's like 100 miles away. The ATM cameras captured the suspect wearing a green short sleeve shirt with 2 button pockets on each side and a hooded sweatshirt covering his face. It is believed that the ATM was used before Holt's body was dumped back into St. Cloud. A round trip from Kissimmee to Vero Beach and back to St. Cloud in roughly 3 hours. Now, Wagner and Holt lived together for 4 years prior to this incident. The nearly 3 decades since her partner and friend was taken has been difficult. Wagner remembers the good times they had, the bad times they had, every time they had. She keeps a positive outlook on life, much like Ruth was known for. Now, Stephen Madonna was only 4 years old when his aunt was murdered. Now, Madonna had spent so much time of his life questioning what happened, or he has spent so much time of his life questioning what's happened to the unsolved murder of his Aunt Ruth. Well, on the 27th anniversary of Ruth's passing, her family gathered in her honor. Osceola County Sheriff Russ Gibson gathered alongside the mourning family. He told the News Gazette that this case is very much active. We're trying to generate new leads. Somebody must have seen something. But to this day, the family is very skeptical because to this day, those answers have never been had. The Facebook page has been somewhat successful so far, Madonna says. People have reached out, but with nothing they could use. The time without Ruth has been long, and disappointing is no longer here. Ruth's family believes she is still with them spiritually, and they refuse to give up. Now, if you have any information on the unsolved murder of Ruth Holt, please contact the Osceola County Sheriff's Office at 407-348-2222. Oh, and such a sad story. I mean, if you really think about that, that's just pitiful. Crazy. And I only got one more for you. One more for you guys. Is anybody still awake up in here? I'm sure at least one of you are. This is our last one, I promise, Donna Mullen. So, Candy Lynn Sharp and April Jolicoeur have continuously sought justice for their mother, Donna Genevieve Mullen. The 33 years since her disappearance has been difficult on the sisters, struggling to move forward under the weight of not knowing the truth. I still think about it every day, they say. It's hard not knowing what happened. Donna Mullen was a beloved mother, friend, and citizen of the Jacksonville Beach community. She had strong ties to the beaches, working in the historic Ritz Beach Bar while juggling motherhood and maintaining close relationships with those around her. Now, Candy described her mother as a sweet woman who would do anything for anyone and would help anyone no matter what. Donna fought her fair share of demons. Her daughter told stories that her mother struggled with alcohol addiction and even a bout of tuberculosis. When sober, she would come and visit me. She would bring my sister to visit. When she wasn't, she avoided me. Candy fondly shared stories of the family visiting with her uncle to watch baseball games. She would get on the call with me, and she would call me rotten ass if I got in trouble. On July 19th, 1986, Donna Mullen was reported missing. She was last seen by a neighbor near her home on North 2nd Street in Jacksonville Beach. Donna was, see, Chris says, so could I. I'm still here. I could, aw, that's so sweet, patriotism. On July 19th, 1986, Donna Mullen was reported missing. She was last seen by a neighbor near her home on North 2nd Street in Jacksonville Beach. Now, Donna was only 37 years old at the time, 5'1" tall with brown hair and blue eyes. The mother of three had just affectionately been known as Duck due to the noticeable waddle in her stride. Donna had a few distinctive tattoos, including a black panther on her left shoulder and two red hearts with a black K on her right wrist. She also had pierced ears and a scar from a hysterectomy on her abdomen. She has never been seen since. The Jacksonville Beach Police Department followed many leads, but none led to information regarding to Donna's disappearance. Donna's disappearance has left her family with so many questions and so much time to speculate to what has happened to her. They just don't know what to think anymore. Now, family members have suspected Donna that she may have been a victim of a drug deal gone bad. I mean, she was an addict. So Donna's Harley Davidson motorcycle had been found with cocaine on board. Now, Candy was only 16 years old when her mom disappeared. She was adopted out to another family in Ohio, but she's always kept in contact with her biological mother as much as she could up to 1986. Candy had saw her mom for the last time. Now, Donna and her boyfriend all the time spent a weekend in Ohio before traveling to Michigan to buy a new Harley. They then swung by Russellville, Kentucky to visit April before returning to Jacksonville. If you think you have any information about this unsolved murder of Donna Mullen, I beg you to please call the Jacksonville Police Department at 904-270-1661. And to remain anonymous and possibly get eligible for a $3,000 reward, call First Coast Crime Stoppers at 1-866-845-TIPS. Hi, Miranda. Thank you for coming in. I haven't seen you in a bit. I hope you're doing well. Yes, guys, if you would please hit the like, I would greatly appreciate it. If you don't want to, it's fine. But guys, this is all I have for you tonight. Unless there's something else you want me to look up for you or go over any other missing cold case or someone that's missing, I can do that for you. But other than that, I think that's it for tonight. Do you guys have any cases that you would like for me to look up? I hope you're doing great, Miranda. Your dog is so cute. I love, I can't. Golden retrievers are my favorite. Okay, guys. Well, I guess that's going to be it. I know this is unexpected, and I'm sorry. And Dawn, I did catch a lot of your live. My grandson's on spring break, so I'm back and forth everywhere. I will definitely go over those cases, Chris, and next time I'll go over them. And if you want to join me on panel about some of them, you can. Or if you just want me to go over them, I can. It's up to you. His name is Finn. That's adorable. That's a great name. Patriots, I go live random, really. I try once a day. With spring break, I try to do it after my grandson goes to sleep. When he goes to school, I try to do it like at 1 in the day. And then sometimes maybe 9 or 10 after he goes to bed. But with that being said, guys, God bless each and every one of you. I hope you have wonderful dreams. Be kind to each other. Compliment a stranger. And please don't take anything for granted. You never know when you don't have tomorrow.
In a world that turns too fast, some are lost, left in the past. But we won't let silence win. We'll speak their names again. Voices rising through the dark. Every story leaves a mark. We are the ones who won't forget. The fight for truth is not done yet. We shine the light, we raise the call. For the missing, the broken, we stand tall. For justice, for healing,